You probably know that South Carolina has a serious domestic violence problem.
South Carolina ranks #1 in the nation in women murdered by
Was
men.
arrested for stabbing his female partner to
The
death.
state's death rate is more than twice the national average.
Unfortunately, few realize that lifelong patterns of intimate partner violence can begin as early as middle school.
We know that kids start to demonstrate violence between the ages of 12 to 18. And with that, 72% of 8th and 9th graders are dating. So if you put those two statistics together, it's highly likely that kids are going to experience some form of dating violence in their relationships. And so the earlier we start, the more prepared our adolescents will be to engage in healthy relationships.
The State Department of Education surveys middle and high school students to track the prevalence of various behavioral issues that threaten student success. Their findings concerning teen dating violence are troubling.
In middle school, more than 48% reported that they were suffering from bullying, which also can be an early indicator of future perpetration of intimate partner violence and sexual violence. In 2003, the Department of Health and Human Services, they did a study of the costs of teen dating violence. It is an immediate direct cost of $4.1 billion to the healthcare industry. Second to that is more than $800 million indirect costs for lost productivity, whether it's dropping out of school and not being able to get a job or the not being able to assist with family duties. And that doesn't include anything about the cost to the criminal justice system. So we know that this is an extremely costly crime to our community.
We know that these victims are more likely to experience teen pregnancy, drug and alcohol abuse, suicide, problems with relationships in school. So by preventing the violence from occurring in the first place, we can reduce the impact of that violence. So they will be more successful in their relationships, more successful in a school setting, and then go on to be healthy, happy, and successful adults.
What is sexual assault?
Organizations like Sexual Trauma Services of the Midlands offer dating violence prevention curriculums to South Carolina middle and high schools.
You have to be like the one who says no and stop. No, just do the right thing.
Since dating relationships actually start in early adolescence, we have to look towards those age groups. So really around the 6th grade is where we will be looking to start talking to children about coping mechanisms and helping build them support systems and give them other skills that they may need to be able to communicate well in relationships, whatever type of relationship that may be.
Sexual Trauma Services of the Midlands Youth Violence Prevention Curriculum covers a range of topics geared toward reducing relationship violence, including harmful gender stereotypes, boundary setting, communication, and online safety.
What were some of the reasons she didn't tell about the sexual abuse?
Well, she doesn't exactly know who to tell.
Okay. And that's a big problem that we have, is that so many of y'all don't know who to tell. Could you call me?
What primary prevention seeks to do is look at the underlying risk and protective factors, develop those protective factors into something that can help protect against the eventual development of a perpetrator or victim, depending on the situation. But it really focuses on making sure those behaviors and those strategies are there to keep sexual violence, intimate partner violence from ever occurring.
I want to know what you guys think of as flirting and what you guys think of as sexual harassment.
By providing staff training and integrating violence prevention into school services and policy, cultural change can be sustainable.
Often teachers see students more than their parents do. So if these types of things are implemented at that level, it's more likely that they will take hold, and it will be less likely that those behaviors will continue even outside the classroom and outside the school setting. Because when their vast reality is, these things are not okay, this is how I react in a situation like this, that type of thing, then you're more likely to have a situation where that doesn't happen.
Is there a difference, first of all?
Flirting is good. Flirting is meant to be innocent. Flirting is what you like. Innocence, yeah.
Okay. Flirting is what you like, sexual harassment is what you don't like. So is there a difference between the two?
The youth violence prevention curriculum and other curriculums like it across the country on average cost around $2 per child to implement. So when we're looking at that and weighing the cost factors, it is an easy decision to make to implement any sort of youth violence prevention curriculum within the schools to be able to start changing those social norms.
The biggest misconception that people have about teen dating violence is that it's just a part of growing up, that teen dating violence isn't as big of an issue as adult dating violence. And what we know is that it can be even more dangerous. The perpetrator may be in the victim's class. They might go to the same school. They have that constant access. And when teens talk to adults about their relationships and the things that they're experiencing, those victimizations may be minimized. In addition, teen dating violence isn't currently covered under the criminal domestic violence statutes in South Carolina, so they're not afforded the same protection that adult victims in similar situations would be.
One of the first things that needs to change is that dating violence relationships are included in the definition of criminal domestic violence so that they can be prosecuted under criminal domestic violence laws. Second, we really need a more comprehensive law that will mandate specifically primary prevention curriculum for middle and high school students.
A lot of the backlash has been around the idea that this really isn't that big of a problem, and we know based on some of the youth risk behavior survey results that it is. Specifically in South Carolina, it's a major problem.
To end domestic violence in South Carolina, we have to stop the cycle where it begins. The time has come to start taking teen dating violence seriously. The consequences of allowing violent dating behaviors to continue into adulthood are too dire.
This program is part of American Graduate. Let's make it happen. A public media initiative made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.